We are learning this breaking news that former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested. Here's what we're learning. This is from Bill Malugin with Fox News saying, per multiple law enforcement sources, former CNN anchor Don Lemon was arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles this morning in connection to the storming of a church in Minnesota by anti-ICE agitators. We also do have some more social media posts as well that we'll put up on your screen here for you. But once again, as we just read there, this comes after Lemon followed and spoke to demonstrators who disrupted a church service in a video he posted to his YouTube channel. The New York Post also reporting that it is not immediately clear what charges he is facing at this time. This comes after former CNN host Don Lemon said during an interview last week that the Trump administration would go around a judge or retrofit a law to prosecute him after he followed agitators into a St. Paul, Minnesota church earlier this month.
What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. Don Lemon has been arrested by the neo-Nazi administration, and this is a terrible day for America. Don Lemon gets arrested because he was doing his job as a journalist, reporting on the news. See, this neo-Nazi administration, instead of arresting the murderers who murdered two protesters in cold blood, because that's not a priority. Clearly, they're not criminals to these neo-Nazis. The same administration that let out the January 6th rioters who committed insurrection. The same president who let out untold numbers of scammers and fraudsters who were prosecuted by the then legitimate law enforcement department and placed in jail. The same criminal that has been letting out criminals for the last 8 years has arrested Don Lemon, all right, the journalist, for reporting on an incident at a church because they decided to call it a riot. This is, in fact, what fascism looks like. This is an authoritarian government. Okay? This is also the same government in the same neo-Nazi administration that allowed American journalists to be killed in Israel. Do you know how many American journalists have been killed by the Israeli government? American journalists that have been killed by the Israeli government that this neo-Nazi administration has not even addressed. At this point in time, guys, if it wasn't time for a impeachment, Article 25, I don't know what it is. Because if this doesn't meet the standard, I don't know what will ever meet the standard in the future. I don't know how we're going to hold any president or head of state accountable for anything. You see, arresting journalists is things that dictators do in third world countries. So apparently America is now a third world country. Donald Trump has turned America into a third world country. He's killing white folks because they're not following the plan, because they're not falling in line. And he's arresting journalists. Now, the first group of protesters who were arrested, right, those black ladies, they got released because it's bullshit, right? The judge threw it out. And I'm pretty sure the same thing is going to happen here. But the whole reason he's doing this is to purposely inconvenience, to purposely do these things to these people. Remember, Donald Trump is a criminal. So you can't take anything he says seriously about the law enforcement. I truly blame this on the Democrats, man. The Democrats, when they had a chance to impeach and get rid of Donald Trump, they tried to be civil with a person that's not civil. You can't be civil with savages. You can't be civil with barbarians because they're not going to be civil. They're not going to be civil in kind. I blame this on the Republicans who enabled this so they can get all their pet projects paid for, and they can get those tax cuts for the people that sponsor their political lives. See, this is fascism. We're not going towards fascism. America is a fascist nation. America is destroying all of its connection with its allies. America is destroying the farming community, the agricultural businesses. He's destroying every member of American society, including all the ones who supported him. And just like Donald Trump in fashion, the racist, he couldn't wait to get the black guy. Keep in mind, he's been targeting black people in every way he possibly can. Now, I hope you black coon Republicans are happy. I'm sure a few of them are going to go do videos and try to say that Don Lemon was a part of some sort of vicious anarchy, some sort of vicious riot, even though these are the same people who gave it past all those middle-aged, fat, bald white men who decided to go to the Capitol and try to kill another white man, the vice president, because he wouldn't steal the election for Donald Trump. This is a national shame. Americans, all people who call themselves American, who view themselves nationalistically and proudly as American, should be embarrassed. All you white women who voted for this piece of shit because you couldn't vote for that black woman because you didn't get your Hillary Clinton, this is your fault. All you white men, this is your fault. Who voted for Donald Trump, the racist piece of shit failure of a businessman, Donald Trump. Right? The guy who said he was going to destroy your industries, the guy who doesn't even care about you. Right? The white man who his family has no history in America. You guys put in an administration of foreign white Europeans who are now arresting Americans. Donald Trump is not a legacy American. He's not a heritage American. He's a German. He's a Schnitzelwinkel. All right? He's a part of the group of Europeans that have been the cause of the destruction of almost every great civilization. The Germanic people, them. For some reason, they just seem to be, you find a great civilization falling, you always will find a Germanic, savage barbarian somewhere authoring it. So yeah, Don Lemon has been arrested. Now, he's going to be fine. He's a multimillionaire. He can afford the best lawyers. He's going to be fine. He's inconvenienced, but he'll be fine. As a matter of fact, this is going to be a notch on his belt, to be honest. He's probably going to take this with pride, like notch. Right? And Donald Trump, the guy who only wanted to be the president because a black person was, the guy who will never get the Peace Prize, the Nobel Peace Prize, because Obama got one, and he's mad he didn't get one, but he'll never get one. The guy whose whole career is built around being jealous of black people, never quite measuring up. He finally gets to take a shot at a journalist, Don Lemon. This is literally the whole point of freedom of speech. See, freedom of speech, a lot of you guys have it misunderstood. Y'all think freedom of speech is being able to say what you want on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. No, those are corporations, private corporations who can make the rules about their community guidelines. Freedom of speech is supposed to protect you from the government. You're supposed to say and do what it is you want to do, as long as you're not harming anybody. And you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to be protected from the government. Right now, the government is attacking journalists for doing their job, journalism. As a matter of fact, not only that, but he's not even doing his job as far as being transparent and letting journalists do their job. In every way possible, he has been attacking American journalists. And now, just when you think he couldn't reach any lower, he has reached the bottom of the bottom. And he's on purpose attacking and trying to get journalists arrested, as if in his brain that's actually going to go somewhere. All it does is add to the authoritarian rhetoric and regime that we see now. All of you people who voted for Donald Trump, you will never be forgiven. Never. You are the worst sack of shit that humanity has ever had the mispleasure of having to live with. You are what's wrong with humanity. You are all subhuman barbarians, Neanderthal. Every one of you who voted for Donald Trump are subhuman, barbarian savages who need to be eliminated from society. Every one of you. I hope you get, when we finally get rid of this fascist government, I hope there is a mass American Inquisition. All of you need to be held accountable. Anyway, that's all I got to say. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn some, teach some. I'm out.
Don Lemon has been arrested. This is bad, guys. I don't know how else to reiterate that a 59-year-old journalist who's been reporting the news for CNN for years has gone independent since then, and then went out to Minneapolis to cover everything that was happening out there. Getting arrested is bad. a rep put out this statement for Don. Instead of investigating the federal agents who killed 2 peaceful Minnesota protesters, the Trump Justice Department is devoting its time, attention, and resources to this arrest. And that is the real indictment of wrongdoing in this case, Lowell said. This unprecedented attack on the First Amendment and transparent attempt to distract attention from the many crises facing the administration will not stand. Don will fight these charges vigorously and thoroughly in court. Now, this article links back to this one right here, where they literally sat there and said the DOJ was going to blast Leman and put out charges, find out how they could arrest people for the protest that was happening inside the church. This is the highest level of fucked we could get after journalists were getting blasted on the front lines. We're in a war zone, and a journalist just got arrested. This shit's not okay.
Federal authorities just locked up Don Lemon. Some people say this all stems back to when he went into that church. Because they have a pastor on his off time, he's an ICE agent. He ran up in that man's church and let him know you shouldn't be an ICE agent if you're a pastor. If anybody shouldn't be a frozen water agent, I figure it would probably be a pastor, just because he's a man of God. I can't believe a man of faith would be out here locking people up because they're undocumented immigrants. You guys think it's fair that Don Lemon is locked up now? Is this going against the amendment of freedom of speech? Do you guys think they're just trying to send a message to journalists so they won't cover what's going on in Minnesota? I got a feeling even if you do lock up the reporters and Don Lemon, they're not going to stop reporting on what's going on. All this because Don Lemon was in a church grilling a pastor, asking him why he's an ICE agent. Do you guys think this is fair to lock up Don Lemon because he's asking tough questions? Do you guys also think it's fair that a pastor can be an ICE agent? I just don't think a man of God like that should be an ICE agent, in my opinion. Drop your thoughts in the comments and hit that follow.
This is the beginning of what's going to happen here. When you violate people's due process, when you pull people off the street, you start dragging them and hurting them and not abiding by the Constitution, when you start doing all of that, people get upset and angry. And if you remember what the Civil Rights Movement was about, the Civil Rights Movement was about these very kinds of protests. There's nothing in the Constitution that tells you what time you can protest. You can protest at any time. That's the whole point of it, is to disrupt, to make uncomfortable. And that's what they're doing. And that's what I believe when I say everyone has to be willing to sacrifice something. You have to make people uncomfortable in these times. If you see how uncomfortable people uncomfortably
Leman has been arrested while in Los Angeles covering the Grammys. Now, his arrest is coming from news sources as well as his attorney, and it's coming after the Justice Department promised to pursue charges against him, a judge slapping down a prosecutor's request to charge him. Initially, the prosecutor was trying to charge him for being involved with protesters that stormed Minneapolis church after they alleged that one of the pastors of the church was an agent of ICE. Following his arrest, Don's attorney released a statement on social media saying he was taken into custody by federal agents in LA last night while he was covering the Grammys, claims that what he did in Minneapolis should be constitutionally protected, because that's what he's always done. The First Amendment exists to protect journalists whose role is to shine light on the truth, hold those in power accountable. There's no more of an important time like now for Don to be doing this work. Instead of investigating the federal agents who KILL peaceful Minnesota protesters, the Trump Justice Department is devoting its time, attention, and resources to this arrest, claiming Don will fight these charges vigorously, and this is nothing but a distraction from the many crises the TRUMP administration is facing, and the case will not stand. Just waiting for Nicki Minaj to chime in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I know her and Don Lemon were going back and forth on social media recently after he called her out for her support of the TURMPs. Hard for him to be arrested. He is finally arrested, so I'm sure she is somewhere on a PJ with her feet up laughing. I'm curious to know what y'all think regarding this. Let me know down in the comments. Peace.
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan.
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.